Hi, welcome to Edupedia World. In this presentation today, we are going to learn what are accounting principles. Accounting principles are set of rules and guidelines which helps an accountant in preparation of accounts. These principles are like backbone of accounting. Right from making the first entry into the accounting system till preparation of the complete accounts or the final accounts, it helps an accountant at every stage or point. So this is the list of accounting principles which we are going to learn today. First is accounting entity, then money measurement, then accounting period, full disclosure, materiality, prudence, cost concept, matching concept, and dual aspect. Let's start with accounting entity. This principle is also known as business entity concept or economic entity principle. In very simple words, it means that owner and the business or the company or the entity are separate from each other. For accounting purpose, all the business transactions of a company or an entity should be kept separate from the personal transactions of the owner. For example, if an individual is running a business as a single owner and he puts in money into the business, this money is treated as capital taken from the owner, and whatever money is drawn from the business by the owner is recorded as drawings made by the owner. So for all accounting purpose, the owners and the business entities are treated as separate and the transactions are never mixed. If this is not done at the time of preparing the final accounts, it will be very difficult to separate the assets of the owner and the assets belonging to the business or the assets used in business for generating the revenue. Now let's go to the next principle, money measurement. While explaining transaction in one of my videos, I had mentioned that a transaction can only be recorded if it has got monetary value. So in a business, a transaction should only be recorded if it can be expressed in monetary terms or in some currency. It helps a business in recording the value of assets at a price it has paid for or at a price it was purchased. So here you will note that this principle doesn't take into consideration the effect of inflation. For example, an asset purchased in 1980 at say rupees 20,000 will be reflected at the same value even after 35 or 36 years of accounting in that company or business. Now let's understand what is accounting period principle. Let me give you an example. We all have been to school, and what if there was no fixed tenure for each class, or there was no fixed duration for how many years a student should study before moving to college, or say different schools had different duration in every class? Definitely it would have been a chaos for the entire education system. Similarly, accounts are prepared for a standard period of time. One cannot just go on running a business without checking where he is or where the business is heading to. So this checking has to be done in uniform period of time. A business or a company needs to report to the outside users or the external users its results or its final accounts after every uniform interval of period. Though like a class, a business doesn't end, but definitely the artificial period or one accounting period of the business ends and the business moves on to the next period or year. And when we prepare our accounts at uniform intervals, we have many such accounts with which we can compare, like the accounts of the previous periods. This helps in checking our progress. This helps in checking whether we are achieving our objective or not. Also, when other entities in the same industry prepare the accounts at the same intervals, we can compare our result with their result. So this principle makes our accounts comparable with previous accounts as well as with accounts of other entities. Next principle is full disclosure. Any information which may impact the understanding of the user of accounts should be included in accounts either as a footnote or as supplementary notes. It is almost like a legend in a map, which helps us understanding a map in much better way. Similarly, in a business, the nature of the transaction or the information becomes so important that while preparing the final accounts, this should be highlighted or this should be made known to the user of the accounts, because it will either change his opinion or it will help him to understand the accounts in much better way. These disclosures can be of any type, say change in particular method of accounting or policy, or following a particular type of accounting method, then an information which the company already has, or some kind of deal the company has already entered into and which will have a major impact on revenue of the company in future. So all these should be disclosed in the accounts of the company. Now coming on to materiality. This principle has more to do with the size or the importance of the transaction or information which must be reported in the accounts. Please do not confuse this principle with full disclosure, as full disclosure covers all such information which has impact on understanding of the accounts for the user, whereas materiality is more about the size of the transaction or the information. For example, there are two companies which sells pizzas. Company A has 500 outlets in India and company B has 3 outlets in India. Now in a flood, one store of each of these companies gets damaged beyond repair, which means it will take at least 4 to 6 months to set up the new store altogether in that particular location. Now for company A, the effect in its total sales will be very negligible, whereas for company B, the effect in its sales can be a major one, assuming all 3 stores were contributing equally to the sales of the company. Therefore, for company A, it need not be important or very material to disclose this information in its accounts, whereas for company B, it is very much essential to report it in their accounts that the sales will be affected because of this particular store becoming non-operational for a substantial period of time. Next principle is prudence. It is also known as conservatism principle. Going by this principle, we should recognize or record the expense or liability as soon as possible or when they are reasonably certain, which means that even if we may feel that we might not have to pay this expense or liability, but there is a reasonable possibility of this expense becoming certain or this liability becoming certain, then definitely we should book this expense or we should record this liability and expense. But at the same time, for recognizing or recording revenue or income, we should actually wait till the time it is earned or when there is no doubt about this revenue or income getting materialized. Similarly, one should be always conservative while estimating the revenues or should not overestimate the amount of revenue to be recorded and should not underestimate the expenses to be recorded. In other words, one should anticipate and disclose the losses, whereas should not anticipate and count the gains or disclose the gains. For example, in a TV manufacturing company, at the end of accounting period, they have 1000 units of TV in their stock, and there is a news that the prices of the TV sets will be increased. But while preparing accounts, they cannot or they should not take this anticipated gain in consideration, or they should not anticipate this gain for reporting in accounts. But on the other hand, if there is a news that the prices of the TVs will go down, then definitely they should consider this information and should value the stock of 1000 TVs accordingly. Now coming to cost concept. Cost is basically the cash or cash equivalent which was paid to acquire the asset, and this becomes the value of the asset in books of accounts. So even after many years, this particular asset will appear at the same value which was the cost for this asset in the accounts of the company. This is why it is also known as historical cost principle. This cost or historical cost of asset is never changed even if the price of this asset changes in the market. For example, a company is doing business for last 50 years. In its first year of business, it had purchased one land for rupees 1 lakh. Even after 50 years of business and maintaining the accounts, that land will appear at the same value of rupees 1 lakh in the accounts of this company. Now let's understand matching concept principle. This principle means that the expenses should be booked or recorded in the same period in which the revenues are booked and got generated with the help of such expenses, or when such expenditure was made. In other words, the revenues or the sales and the corresponding expenses needs to be matched in the same period of accounting. This helps in giving the true picture of profit and loss. Let's say, for example, a company exports 10,000 boxes of pen to Europe on 25th of March, and the accounts will be prepared on 31st of March. Now on 25th of March, as soon as the sales invoices are generated and the material is dispatched, the sales are booked in the accounts, and by the time this material will reach Europe, it will be another 10 days, or say 5th of April. So the shipping cost which we have to pay maybe somewhere in first week of April needs to be booked before 31st of March, so that the sales and the related expenses are booked in same period of accounting. Now the dual aspect principle. For accounting purpose, all business transactions has two aspects, and as per the dual aspect principle, we should record both the aspects in the accounts. This is why it is also called double entry accounting system, and for every transaction there is one debit account and there is one credit account. For example, if we purchase a furniture for our office, even if we do not pay the supplier immediately, but the liability to pay against that furniture or for that furniture has become certain. So we need to take that into consideration and we should record that liability in our accounts. So one aspect is incoming of the furniture, and the second aspect is the certainty of the liability or the liability which needs to be booked. With this, we have come to the end of this presentation. Thank you.